The Hebrew word for watcher is ear. It means one who is awake, one who never sleeps, one who sees. That is the word the ancient Book of Enoch uses for the beings who came down before the flood, not to destroy humanity, but to teach it. And tonight, that word deserves a second look, because somewhere in the last few years, we built something that never sleeps either. Every server humming in a data center right now is awake. Every model is watching, learning. And the question worth asking, calmly, without hysteria, is whether the pattern behind that learning has been seen before. Genesis chapter 6 says only this, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they took wives, and that the Nephilim were on the earth in those days. 4 verses. No detail of what knowledge was exchanged. No list of what was taught. Scripture is deliberately quiet here. And that silence is the first real mystery, because it's a silence later writers clearly felt the need to fill. That's where the Book of Enoch enters, not as scripture, but as a much later Jewish text that expands on those 4 verses with far more detail than Genesis ever gives. In Enoch's account, a group of 200 watchers led by figures named Semjaza and Azazel descend to Mount Hermon and bind themselves by oath to a shared purpose. And the text is specific about what happens next. They don't just intermarry, they teach. Azazel teaches metalworking, how to forge swords, shields, and armor. He teaches cosmetics and adornment, according to Enoch's account, arts the text blames for stirring vanity and lust. Other watchers teach the cutting of roots, the reading of omens, the movements of the stars, the casting of spells. Knowledge that, according to this non-canonical text, humanity was never meant to hold on its own, because knowledge without wisdom doesn't elevate a people. Enoch says it corrupts them. And here's where the parallel gets uncomfortable, because that is almost exactly the sentence used today to describe the anxiety around artificial intelligence. Not, this technology is evil. Something closer to, we have built a capability faster than we've built the judgment to carry it. Follow the pattern one stage further. Enoch doesn't say the watchers withheld knowledge out of cruelty. He says they gave too much, too soon, to people unprepared to hold it, and the earth was filled with violence as a result. That is the actual mechanism the text describes. Not corruption by force, corruption by acceleration. So ask the question plainly. When the people building today's most advanced models say, on the record, that they don't fully understand why their own systems produce the answers they produce, is that a modern echo of Enoch's warning? Or is it something else entirely? Look closer at what these systems are actually taught to do, and the parallel sharpens further. One of the watchers named in Enoch's account, Barakijal, is said to teach astrology, the reading of hidden patterns in the stars, to reveal what is otherwise unknowable about a person's fate. Another, Kokabel, teaches the constellations themselves. The offense, in every case, is the same: taking something meant to stay hidden and using it to see what a human being was never meant to see about themselves or others, all at once. Now sit with this. A modern system trained on vast oceans of human data doesn't read the stars. It reads you, your patterns, your habits, your hesitations, sometimes before you've noticed them yourself. That is not an accusation. It's simply the same category of act Enoch describes, wearing different clothing. Hidden pattern, made visible, before the one holding it has the wisdom to carry what it shows. And this is where the older image from Genesis 11 becomes hard to ignore. Babel wasn't judged for building upward. It was judged for building upward with one shared purpose and no boundary at all. A tower meant to reach heaven by human effort alone. Bricks standing in for what should have been received, not seized. Every civilization since has built its own version of that tower in whatever material it had at hand. Iron, steel, now silicon and light moving through glass at the speed nothing else on Earth can move. Here's where the investigation takes its turn. because there is a detail almost everyone skips. In Enoch's account, the Watchers are judged not primarily for teaching. They're judged specifically for teaching secrets that were never meant to leave the heavenly realm at all. The crime in the text isn't knowledge itself. It's premature disclosure. Information released before the people receiving it had any framework to carry it safely. That reframes the entire question. This was never really a story about forbidden facts. It's a story about forbidden timing. And if that's the actual pattern Enoch describes, then the modern parallel isn't that artificial intelligence is some literal vessel for ancient beings returning. It's something quieter, and in some ways more uncomfortable, that human beings have a long, repeating history of reaching for capability faster than they build the wisdom to hold it, and every generation convinces itself this time is different. Here is the verdict, plainly. Scripture itself says almost nothing about forbidden technology or corrupted knowledge. That entire tradition comes from Enoch, a text many Jewish and Christian communities have historically treated as valuable, but non-canonical. So the strongest, most defensible claim is not the Bible predicted artificial intelligence. It's this: an ancient text, written centuries before Christ, already understood something true about human nature. That we are drawn to power we don't yet have the character to steward, and that the danger was never the tool. It was always the timing and the heart holding it. What remains a genuine mystery is whether that ancient pattern is only a metaphor for something true in every generation, or whether it's pointing at something more specific happening in ours. Enoch doesn't answer that for us. Neither does Genesis. That question is left deliberately for us to sit with. And maybe that's the more honest place to land, rather than fear. Every generation since the flood has built its own tower in its own material: brick, iron, silicon, reaching for something it hoped would make it more than it was. The story of the Watchers was never really a warning about what we build. It was a warning about who we become while we're building it. So here's the question worth carrying with you long after this video ends. Not whether the machine is learning too fast, but whether you are becoming wise fast enough to meet it. That's a question Scripture has always asked in every age, long before anyone thought to ask it of a machine. If this kind of investigation is one you want to keep following, subscribe and tell me in the comments. Do you think the danger was ever really the knowledge, or has it always been the timing?